Right, so that's recording now. Andy, so thanks so much for joining me. It's much appreciated. I know, obviously everything with the lockdown has thrown all sorts of plans up in the air, of course, including Cheltenham Paint Festival, of which you're organizer, founder, manager, many hats on.
General dog body, yeah.
Um, and you know, I suppose the reason I started this was, because what I really love that you've done recently is the virtual Cheltenham Paint Festival, with some great artists and some great work, and one of yours in the background there as well. So, how did it all come about? And are you happy with how that's gone?
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it's gone. I didn't expect it to kind of be so big as it has. Really, it came about by I was chatting to Think 22, who's an artist who's English but lives in Dubai, teaches in Dubai, and he came and painted at the festival last year. And he kind of said, "Oh, it'd be great to do something like a virtual festival." And I was like, "Oh, do you know what? I've got tons of photos of walls, which some of them have we done, some we haven't been able to get permission for, various places around town." So I thought, yeah, that's something to do. The piece that's in your background was a piece I've been trying to get permission to do from the owner of Superdry, and he keeps turning me down. So that was one nice thing. Well, I could do that. So yeah, I just chucked a load of all these, like about 150 wall photos into an album, and I ran an artist group for people who come to paint at the festival. So I just said to them, does anyone fancy doing it? And obviously everyone was in lockdown and not being able to get out and paint, and yeah, it just gave people something to do, I think, and yeah, it got taken up by a lot of people. So and they all did a great job. They've not just thrown it on there. People putting in the shadows of lampposts and all sorts of things. And a lot of people were fooled. And when I first put it out, they kind of missed the virtual bit. And I missed the festival. Has it gone on already? There's some great walls. So yeah, no, it was good, and it got picked up by the Telegraph and BBC, and yeah, it went well. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I've seen there's been a few virtual festivals, but I think this one in particular, like you said, you can tell the effort that's gone into it, because the walls, there's the texture to it, and like you said, the shading and the shadow, and it if you didn't know it was virtual, you could probably look at some of them and think, oh, right, okay, that's a wall right there.
I'm fully expecting people to come to Cheltenham the next festival and go, well, where's this wall? Where's this one? I've seen this one on. I want to go and see that one.
But
yeah, no, it was good fun. Yeah.
And I guess really important to kind of have this creative outlet during such a quite difficult, challenging time for most of us, really.
Yeah. I mean, being stuck in, not being able to go out and paint walls, and this year for me, this year I had some amazing jobs lined up. Premiership Football Club, going and painting France, and an offer to go to somewhere in Africa as well. And it was just like, yeah, so everything just got shut down. Lots of the artists are not going to be able to, the international mural scene. That's where a lot of artists are going out and doing it all year round. And yeah, it was just a bit of a nightmare not being able to do anything and just get out and paint any walls. So yeah, I think and it was nice for artists who are not quite at that level maybe yet, and are more used to doing boards and stuff like that at Upfest, and they get to see what their work looked like on a big wall. I think it's given a few of them ambitions now to to scale up some of their work, and it was great. Lots of people lost income, so it was nice to be able to promote people and people to be able to get their work out alongside your Inkies and your My Dog Size and people like that. And hopefully, yes, people have found new artists that they like and been able to go to them and buy some stuff off them. That'd be the ideal.
Yeah, great. And I mean, Cheltenham Paint Festival, I haven't actually been yet, but it feels like it's kind of the reputations that, you know, I've not heard one bad word about it, for one thing. Everyone, you know, says it's, you know, I've seen the artwork and the artists you get there. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's become a fixture on the street art scene quite quickly, it seems. Have you been surprised at kind of, you know, how quickly and how well it's gone up to this point?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, I mean, it's the festival this year would have been our 4th year, or will be our 4th year. For a couple of years before that, I was running the tunnels where we paint. So the council had given me one of we got 2 tunnels. One's a free wall, one was a mural, and we went and painted with some friends from Bristol. And by then the mural had degraded, and I said to the council, next time we paint, can we go and paint the tunnel? And they said, oh, you go and paint it a weekend. Yes. And they said, well, we loved what you did, and we'd like to give you that tunnel to paint and curate. So I was running that for a few years. I had lots of smaller jams, 30, 40 artists, you know, people like Anatomics, and My Dogs was the first person who came and painted for me, and SP0 and quite a few others, you know, come down and painted. And so that, you know, I'm painting festivals myself. I got to know quite a lot of the artists. So I think that helped ease the public into being able to see the quality of the work that was going on. And, you know, lots of people used to come down, and lots of old people as well, and say how much they used to avoid going down there because it was dark and dingy and horrible. And, you know, typical lots of shitty throw-ups and stuff because people didn't have time to do anything. So once we took over and started, you know, getting a lot of artists down and really improving the quality, people really appreciated it. And we get people coming down there all the time when we were painting and say how much they enjoyed it, how much they where they used to avoid it, they'd now go and seek it out and see what new stuff there was on. And so, but yeah, I mean, still, it was a big step. Cheltenham's really, it's not very urban, do you know what I mean? It's, I was kind of worried when we did the first festival. I must admit, the night before, I was a bit of a panic attack. And we're going to be painting all over the town tomorrow. How's this going to go? But people have loved it. People have really taken to it, and it's enabled the festival to grow quite considerably. I think the first year we did right in the heart of town, right in the sort of the kind of posh shopping part of it, and had a big piece there, and that kind of eased the way into people being able to accept what we were doing. And then the second year we had like Bo Stanton come, and the wall he did was just this hideously ugly wall, flat brown concrete at the top, and then underneath it'd been a compulsory purchase, the building next door, and it'd been a small gap next to this pub that hadn't had proper watercourse. The wall was crumbling, it was covered in black soot because it'd been a garage next door, just so ugly. And then Bo came and did that stunning piece, and you know, I think people really saw then the benefits of what we were doing, really, and how it was improving areas and taking some of the nasty areas, uglier areas of town, and really improving them. So yeah, I think because you normally, when you go and paint at Bristol or Leicester or London or wherever, you know, for the bigger festivals, they're cities, and there's a few people here and there's a few people there, but because it's Cheltenham and it's smaller, and I put on an after party for everyone, I try and look after them. So we offer really subsidised. It's like it was free, but people kept running off with the keys. So now we charge like a tenner for a night, so they don't run off with the keys. Or if they do, we're covered. But so the artists come and stay, and but so everyone goes to the same place, and that's, you know, it's a real community, and that's the only time I think we all get together in one spot. So I think that's really helped, and that's given us a good reputation amongst the artists and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about that, there's a couple of things. One is, you know, you've managed to get the council buy-in, which for a start isn't always easy, because there can still be a perception that street art equals graffiti, equals scrolls on a wall, equals degrading the town, whereas obviously you've been upgrading the town, and also that kind of sense of community that you've created there that kind of just shows, you know, something personally that I love about street art is that, you know, it can have a transformational effect, really, and a positive transformational effect as well. So it must feel pretty good actually to be involved in something like that, and to be, you know, you're giving back basically to the, you know, to the place, you know, that you live, really. So
yeah, I mean, one of my favorite stories is the first year we painted the side of the William Hill, which is in an area that it's one of the poorer areas of the town, and Cheltenham's got this disparity of wealth. You know, there's some, it's the Cotswolds, there's some very rich people who live in the Cotswolds, but Cheltenham also has one of the poorest areas in this country, and so I was painting this big wall black, ready for it was Filth, M42, Peaches, and Lamac. We're doing this big wall, and I was painting it black, ready for them to come and do. And this lady came up, "What the hell are you doing that for? I hate that colour." I said, "Oh, well, there's going to be a mural tomorrow." "Oh, what do you want to do that for? I'll be ruining them." And anyway, on the Sunday, and it was a horrendous weekend. Poor Lamac, he had like a gazebo to try and stop all his stencils getting wet, and it blew away, and the weather, it was a horrendous weekend. But on the Sunday, I was talking to Filth, and the same lady come up, stood next to me, got her camera out the bag, started taking photos. She went, "Right, I'm going to the council on Monday about this." And I was like, "I want a big CCTV camera, put that in." Another one put that in. "That's bloody gorgeous."
oh
She's like, "No, fair dues. That is bloody lovely."
Right.
And you know, it's still there now. It's like 4 years on. There's not a tag on it, and I'm sure that she's just gone out to all the neighbourhood kids and gone, "You got anywhere near that?" And you know, I think that's going back to the whole sort of community thing you mentioned. Is a lot of towns, cities, if they're going to do something, it's all got to be about the town centre. It's got to be, you know, if there's going to be a statue, it's got to be a town centre. If they're going to do anything, it's to a town centre. Whereas, partly because most of our town centres listed, but I'd really like taking art out and going to the other areas. You know, the flats. We got a lot of the social housing that we did last year with Dan Kaninki, and people have really appreciated it out there. They don't normally have, you know, art's generally not on their radar, I would say, but they've really loved having the paintings there.
Which I suppose it kind of answers the question, which is, you know, why street art as opposed to gallery? When I think that probably just answers it, really, in terms of.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's there for everyone. You know, you don't. I think a lot of the people who, certainly some of the areas I've mentioned, you know, I doubt if most of them have been in a gallery in their life, but they, you know, and I've done some talks at the schools around there, and it was amazing. You had literally all the kids just sat there, and I put a picture up, and the whole place just erupted. It was, "Oh, wow, that's on my grand's house, or that's around the corner from her." And it just, you know, the kid teachers would settle it down. I'd talk a bit about painting, and then the next picture would come out, and, "Wow." And you know, a lot of those kids, 100%, you know, I doubt that any of them have ever been in a gallery in their life, but yeah, they love it. Yeah, they really appreciate it, and take kind of ownership of it. Oh, that's in ours, and that's in our area and stuff. And it's really nice to see it.
Yeah, and I suppose also, perhaps it might encourage someone to pick up a paintbrush or a spray can or...
Yeah. Well, we run workshops, and for those areas, we gave out free tickets to come and do the workshops. And yeah, I mean, one of the guys who I was painting with, he came along to the jams originally when I was first doing the jams. He saw it and was just like, I love this. This is great. This is amazing. And now he's making his living as an artist, and he's done some big jobs with me and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see some kids encouraged to pick up the can and have a creative outlet, because not a lot of it in schools and stuff. So
no. And
yeah.
When did you kind of first get into street art? Did you sort of come from the graffiti background, or were you always kind of more the...
A really odd way. I was always a big fan of street art, graffiti and stuff, and I used to go to Upfest and City of Colours and things like this, and Inky's See No Evil event, and but I never considered myself to be art. I hadn't painted, drawn since I was at school or anything. But I was teaching at a school for kids with learning difficulties and behaviour problems, and the qualification board changed, and the new qualification had upcycling of furniture in, and they said, "Oh, can you do this?" And I said, "Yeah. I've upcycled furniture for myself rather than go and spend 300 quid on a chest of drawers. I've got something and changed it around and made it look nice. So yeah, I can do that." And then they all wanted to put Banksy style stencils on there, so I learned to make stencils to teach them, and then I've been down the Honeybourne line with my daughter, and there's a nice piece there, and I was taking this photo. She was like, "Dad, take my photo." And then there's this piece up here. So she stood in front of the graffiti with this pose on, and had these pink wellies and a gingham dress and a star hoodie. Borrowed my shades, Stefan, just gave it this attitude. And I'd been playing with this stencil a bit, and one kid at the college said, "Oh, the bus stop by us is covered in just awful. It looks a mess. Can we do something with it?" So we went to the council and asked them, and they said the whole design was like a twin town thing. So they said, "No, can you move it into the town centre?" So we did, and I stressed about that wall. I hadn't painted a wall ever. And I had kids with learning difficulties, behavioural problems, and it was like, I would go past it every day on the way to work and stressing about it. But so we painted a design on this wall, and that the one kid was away, and I kept this bit of wall for him. It was a long flat wall, and there's just a little bit that jutted out at the end. And to get his qualification, he had to do some stuff. So he painted this bit, and then it was just kind of a bit bare. So I had that picture of my daughter kicking about, and I stuck it on as like a guardian to the wall, because she was looking all fierce and stuff. And then when I took her to see it, and she obviously hadn't seen herself painted before, and she just kind of looked around at it and was pointing at this. The picture is great. And it got shared on the Banksy website the other day, and it's like thousands and thousands of people were like loving it. But and that was what kind of kicked me off into it, really. People just started then contacting me and saying, "Oh, can you do a print of it? Can I buy an original?" and things like that. And so that's kind of how I got into it, really. And then I was never really a natural artist, so now to be painting big walls freehand has been quite a journey, really. But and I still feel like I'm learning all the time.
And do you still have that kind of stress or panic when you do, or because you're putting some of yourself out there, and or are you a bit more relaxed and confident about what you're doing now?
Yeah, no, I'm a bit more relaxed and confident about it now. I mean, I don't really rest on my laurels. I'm not one to paint the same thing in different colours all the time or whatever. So I like to I like to do portraits, which is obviously pretty difficult at times. You've got to get it all dead on. But I've learned a lot of processes now, and I enjoy that whole process of looking at something and going, right, okay, this is what I want to paint. How am I going to get it up there? What bits do I need to do first, do second, do last, and that whole process of working it out. I really like that. I really enjoy that part of it. So yeah, no, I don't. I've got a lot less stressed about it now.
So, and actually, the stencil of your daughter there, that was the first piece I saw of yours, actually, because you did that on a board at Upfest in 2017, I think it was.
Yeah, I've done 4 Upfests in another year. So yeah, it might be 2016, maybe. Yeah,
maybe 2016. That's a great piece, and just a lot of personality comes across in it. I suppose your daughter's personality for one, and then yours as well, with
everyone sees their daughters in it. I think that's why it's becomes, for me, it was very confusing when it was the first street piece I did, and it suddenly garnered all this interest, and I was like, why is this photo of my stroppy daughter? Why are people really loving this piece of work? I didn't really get it. But yeah, over the years, I think people see their daughters and see their kids in it, and that's I get, oh, it's Lauren, or it's Jane, or it's whatever. So yeah, I think a lot of people see their attitudinal daughters in it.
Yeah, and it must be nice to that people are discovering it, newly all the time as well.
Yeah, like I say, it was shared on the Banksy site the other day, and there's like thousands of people, and all of a sudden I'm getting loads of friend requests, and I'm like, where are all these friends? What's going on? And then somebody will tag me in it, and it's right, okay, it's been shared on there. But yeah, no, I mean, I was doing something, and I couldn't find the original picture I had of it, so I looked on Google just to grab a copy of it. And there's like 20 pages, just that image. It's just been shared so many times. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy.
And just to go back to the festival this year and everything. Obviously, you've had the virtual festival. You've had a couple of fantastic artists visiting recently as well in Dan Kitchener and Pad 303 as well.
Yeah. I forget. I mean. I've become a bit of a, I had another big artist contacted me the other day looking for walls. People got to know that I've got walls, so they tend to contact me and say, "Oh, I'm looking for something. Have you got anything?" But yeah, no, it's great. It's lovely to be in that situation. Dan, people like Dan come down and visit. But yeah, I mean, I was going to have a little paint festival. We linked up with New Urban Era. And we had Noel painting in Belgium, and the Brink from Leamington Spa, and we were all. And the idea, I was going to have quite a few people, and then the council said, "Hang on, you can only meet in groups of 6." So yeah, I had just a load of local artists come down and do some stuff last week, and a few artists are not happy that they'd missed out. So.
No.
Pad came down on the Sunday and dropped a piece. But yeah, no, it's nice that people. I mean, he drove all the way up from Kent to just come and do a piece. It's amazing, really. It's a lovely thing.
It's a fantastic piece as well, isn't it? I love that.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and it's by his Shark as well. So, and that his Shark. I mean, that year, that was that second year. So when we had Bo Stanton come, we had L7 Matrix come and do a beautiful piece in town. Irony did his just amazing portrait of the girl, which is just beautiful.
Always.
We had what's his name? I can't remember what his name is now. But he does the portraits in people's words. So he'd come down. So we had a lot of good ones that year. But everyone. When everyone saw Pad's Shark, they was like, And because it was covered in rubbish graffiti, there's tags, and it was just a mess. So he painted it back to look like the wall before he put the shark in there and stuff as well. It's outstanding, amazing.
His work's so clever, isn't it? I think one of my favourites of his actually is the one he did for Bring the Paint in Leicester last year, which was an extra Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. And there was just a little bit of sort of 3D, an extra bit of the wing coming off. So, it's just kind of mind blowing, really. When someone can do that.
Yeah, we were stood behind him, and I hadn't recognised him at the time. My son was going, Dad, look at Star Wars. Oh, it's Paddy. Yeah. But yeah, no, he did. So he did an at walker here for us last year.
Wow.
I'd offered the end of the Bo Stanton piece, which is huge. There's a wall, and I'd offered it to quite a few artists, and they were like, I don't want to, there's a huge mural, and then don't really want to juxtapose something at the end of it. And then Paddy was like, oh yeah, I'll have that. And it's great because it's still brick, but so it doesn't really, it's not really like you've got beautiful multicolored mural and then there's something stuck on the end of it. It's subtle, it's in the brickwork, and it just works brilliant.
You were saying just before we started actually that you've got various photos of walls where murals could go. It sounds like it's getting to the point where it could, choosing or working out what goes where and who does what. It could, a headache. I mean, like a good headache in a way because because of where everything's at. But it sounds like quite a challenge for for those remaining walls.
Yeah, I mean, on the whole, I think I've pretty much kept 130 artists happy, which is an achievement in itself. But it's for myself, it's such a quite often I kind of look on where I am. I mean, it being Cheltenham, it's not a place that was was synonymous with street art. We're not Bristol or something like that. But to be able to choose your favourite artist to come and paint all over your hometown and drive around, and L7M's at the end of my road, and my dog Size is on the way down, and I go into town and there's Inky and there's Dank and there's all these great pieces, Zabu and Bo Stanton and Snick, and it's a very honoured position to be able to choose your favourite artist to come and paint all over your hometown. I pinch myself that I've been able to get into that position at times. I really do, But it can be a headache. But the worst part is the big artist it takes care of itself a little bit more. I work with if somebody says, "Oh, I've got the side of my house. Do you want to come and paint the side of my house?" So I'll show them who's coming that year, and they'll look at the artist and they'll choose somebody that the style of artwork they like. They don't get to choose the content of it, but they choose a style. So some of those work themselves out a little bit. But it's a nice headache to have. And the worst part is doing the main bit. When you've got 130 artists. And then you've got the car park's a massive long wall. The tunnels are like 400-meter long walls. So you've got this I go out at about 12 o'clock at night with a spray can, and I'm just like drawing lines and putting initials at the bottom, and then going, I haven't worked it out right. Oh no, I'll get that out. Yeah, so that's the hardest bit, definitely. Is the bulk of artists.
I like that behind the scenes insight there. And what are the, because the festival would take place in September, but what is it going to be this year? Kind of more of this sort of ad hoc, work like that.
It's still we're obviously it's an evolving situation constantly, isn't it? So it's been really difficult to plan it because you just don't know what's going to happen. And like I said, I just started a small jam, and everyone would have been, I had 4 tunnels. I could have had groups of 6 in each tunnel almost. So I'm hoping things will have eased off then. I've got no money at the moment. Arts Council is where I usually get bulk of my funding from. That's all gone to help artists through the crisis, so they're not funding anything this year. I've got in contact with the council and stuff like that this week and said that they want to kickstart people coming.
Okay.
They've just recovery plan. They sent me their recovery plan, and everything that I'm planning fits in with that. It's obviously they declared themselves the festival town last year, and they haven't been able to run any festivals this year. So besides the horse racing festival, which has gathered lots of negative feedback, so I'm probably the only festival that they can actually run. Obviously, artists are all distanced. A lot of them would be working at scissor lifts and things, so they're all well. You haven't got to worry about them. And then the crowd you get, then it's not like a music festival where you're corralling everyone into a tent to go and see a band. So people are just walking around the whole town, and it's good for local businesses, the shops, the cafes, the restaurants, and all things like that. People go and spend money, and so it fits in really well with their plans. So I'm hoping that they might be able to put their hands in their pockets and make up some of the shortfall from the loss of the Arts Council money. And but whatever happens, I've spoken to some of the artists, and everyone's just desperate to go out and have a paint, really. So depending on how many people are coming, we'll be doing the car park, we'll be doing the tunnels and the bridges. We'll be doing I think we'll be doing a couple of big walls as well. But it just really depends on how the situation is with if we get a second wave or whatever. It's really difficult to plan. Very well.
I was going to say, really difficult to plan, but it feels, there's some kind of glimmers of light at the end of the tunnel. It kind of feels a bit like hopefully things are moving in the right direction. And like you said, and I was going to mention this earlier on actually, is when there's a street art festival, let's say I as an individual visit Cheltenham, stay there for a day or two, spend some money in the cafes, spend some money here. You take photos, you share them. Other people say, well, I want to visit this area sometime as well. So there's an on the day benefit to the town, and there's a future kind of knock-on benefit as well, isn't there? So hopefully
there is. Yeah, I mean, we get people coming all the time, and primarily to come and look at the art, and they'll come and stay for the weekend just to come and have a wander around, because it's all over the town, so you can spend a weekend here and go and looking at lots of different spots and lots of different places. So I mean it brings business to all over the town, and to not just the town centre, it's places on the outskirts and stuff as well. So I mean it fits in with it, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, if it's on, I'll be there. You've got this.
Cool. Well, it's a busy weekend that weekend. I don't know what's going on with High Vis, but they usually have their festival as well. And I think there's another one. I'm not sure what's going on with them funding wise, but there was planned to be another one in London. So it's a busy weekend.
Yeah.
If you don't make it up that weekend, then just give us a shout, and we can meet up when you're here some other time.
Sounds good.
Probably better running around like a headless chicken over that weekend.
Trying to get 5 minutes, yeah. Now, this is brace yourself for the speed round. This is the rapid fire question round, which I've just made up. Okay. So, first question: spray can or paintbrush?
Probably paintbrush. I think. Sadly, I've got I've got to I really love paint, but I mean I'll show you what I'm doing at the moment. 2 seconds.
Okay.
So these are two I've just finished yesterday.
Nice.
See those? So they're spray paint on the background, and then
Really nice.
all the details, the eyes and the mouth and things, I do with acrylics.
Lovely.
So yeah, I mean, I do love love mixing the two, but yeah, I do I love the relaxing, sitting with the brush. I can do everything to where I want it to be. It's but then it's speed as well, you know. So getting up on a big wall, takes me ages with paint. When I did the one behind you, that's painted on my garage, and that took me about 10 days. I think popping in and out and doing a bit and blah blah blah. But yeah, so for speed, definitely, but for relaxing and accuracy, it's definitely the brush.
Nice, good answer. Now, wall or canvas? Next question.
Oh, wall, definitely, 100%. I'd much rather be up on a big wall, you know, scissor lift. Enjoying the challenge of getting it up onto a big wall, definitely 100%. Yeah.
Stencil or freehand?
Freehand. Yeah, I mean, I started in stencils, and I kind of gradually reduced the stencil to, you know, if I was doing a portrait, like I said, I was never a natural artist, so I just ended up doing a stencil of just where the eyes and some lines, and then painting it in and maybe putting the stencil back over. But now, you know, I paint freehand, and going to a wall with just some paint and not this load of kit and stencils and stencil bags and tape, and then a gust of wind comes or it starts raining when you're trying. You know, all that. No, I don't miss that. I love, you know, I do love the cleanness of a stencil. And if you're working on small scale, it's nice to do stencils. But I love the freedom of doing freehand. Yeah, the freehand.
And I think I probably know the answer to this one already, but gallery or street?
Yeah, and there's obviously the street. I'm trying to turn my town into a gallery, so of the street. So I guess, yeah, gallery of the street.
Yeah, nice. I like, good answer. And home or abroad?
Painting wise?
Painting wise.
See, the trouble is I have
home or away, rather, not necessarily abroad. Home or away, shall I say?
Got lazy because I run so much in the town. I paint here, and it lasts for ages. I can go, oh damn, I forgot that colour red. I can pop home and get it. So yeah, I mean, I've got a bit lazy in that. I do go and paint at festivals and things, but so I would probably say home because it's just easier for me.
Fair comment. Fair comment. And at the minute, are there any artists who you're kind of really into, or you know, who you think you know, just we should be checking out? I guess anyone who's watching or listening.
I mean, I love Peachy and I've been talking to him for about 3 years, trying to get him to come and paint here. Unfortunately, every year their prices go up. As we reach about enough money to be able to afford them, their prices have gone up another year. I love Mad Sea. I'd love to get her to come and paint here. Who else? Who was I looking at here? Watching Vantage Point, and I hadn't come across this artist before. So I've just checked her out. Drew Merritt, lovely, really nice work. I see in stock because I love stuff other than just. I mean, I think a lot of the things we've done sculpturally here. You know, we've had people like Lisa Search, and we've just done incredible ceramics in the town and on the pub and stuff. And I love that. I love people who play with the environment and things like that. And I see in stock are brilliant for that type of thing.
Yeah, their placement of their pieces are always just spot on.
Yes, superb, yeah. And then local artists, I mean, you know, Heat One's great here locally, and there's another Wisco's from Swindon, who does some amazing letters. But I think probably the two favourites are Samer and Irony. Whenever they're here, they come and stay in my caravan, and we always have a really good laugh. Yeah, so I think they're two of my favourites.
Lovely stuff. Well, Andy, thanks so much for sparing the time to talk to me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the invite. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, really nice.